Hi friends, well welcome. And as you know, Mike and I have been home from the Ultimate World Cruise for 2 months now. And I want to give you a little bit of an update on my health journey. You know, I've been dealing with pain in my knees, my back, my hip, and we even had a bit of a health scare through one of the tests that I had done.
And we hope that us telling this story of all the different things that Nancy's been going through here can also help you, because getting old is not for the faint of heart.
Welcome to Living Phase 2.
Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Nancy, and we're empty nesters striving to live life to the fullest.
And we are living that full life as empty nesters going through all the aches and pains of life.
And it stinks, let me tell you.
Getting old is not for the weak.
No, so this video here is really an update, kind of an update on my health journey and where things are at. Well, let's back up just a little bit. I know how I felt when I got on the ship in Miami, and I know the aches and pains that I had, I felt like in general were normal aches and pains. I knew I had the degenerative disc disease, but I felt like I was kind of at peace with that. I knew where I stood with that. So we got on board the ship, and I just remember exactly where I was at health-wise, or how I felt. We had said for taking the stairs, if it was 4 flights or less, we would take the stairs. If it was over 4 flights, we could take the elevator. Yeah.
Well, if you remember that within the first week or two, you climbed the rock wall.
I did.
There on the ship. So
I did do that. But then I noticed as time went on in the cruise, and particularly as we get to the last third or last quarter of the cruise, I was feeling worse and worse. I could tell there had definitely been a change. I wasn't wanting to take the steps. I mean, I'd still take the stairs for 1 flight, but if it was 2 flights, I was kind of rolling my eyes like, oh my gosh, I need to take the elevator, because I knew my knees were really going to hurt.
Well, and then that really started to cause a snowball effect, because when you can't take the stairs and you can't exercise as much, well, now you're getting weaker in your legs, you're getting, there's all this gets wrapped up together, and it's all related.
It was. So at that time, while we were on the cruise, I was doing research, trying to figure out what these aches and pains could be and how I could treat them myself while I was on the ship. I had access to the gym, and I did go to the gym. I mean, I was trying different stretches and different exercises to strengthen my legs. I was even walking backwards on the treadmill to strengthen all of the muscles around my knees. Anything I read that could possibly help me, I was trying to do. I was also in contact with my personal doctor back home, and I was getting appointments set up and lined up, so as soon as I got off the ship, I could get into the doctor right away. And now I will say, I gained weight more than I had hoped for. I had told myself before going on the cruise, I gave myself 10 pounds of grace, and I gained 23 pounds while I was on the 9-month cruise. We came home on a Tuesday, and I was at Weight Watchers on a Thursday. Since that time, I have now lost 18 pounds, and I am still working hard at Weight Watchers.
Yeah, Nancy, I was right there with you. I gained about the same, somewhere between 25 and 30 pounds over that 9-month period. I think the interesting part was, I really feel like we gained most of the weight in the last third of the cruise, which is funny because we were walking like crazy. Mm-hmm. It was port. And I think somehow mentally we were like, oh, we're walking 5 miles, 6 miles, 8 miles, 10 miles a day. We can have that extra drink or that extra dessert. I really do feel like in the first part of the cruise, I know myself, I was really careful about not a lot of sugar, keeping the carbs out. I was intermittent fasting really well. I mean, I really was eating 1 meal a day. I was doing a lot, and I think the weight really came on kind of toward the end. And there's an old expression about, a horse that's seen the barn and it starts running faster. And I think we kind of saw the end of the cruise coming, and I think we started to celebrate a little bit more, cherish every day. And I think that kind of led to some of the weight gain, at least on my part, along with that whole idea that we really weren't able to go to the gym as much and exercise with the pains and everything.
Well, and I think you're absolutely right. I mean, I certainly know on the cruise, I did not eat on the cruise the way I eat at home. We just don't have sweets at home.
Well, how much weight have you lost since you've been home?
18.
18 pounds. And I think I'm at 16
Yeah.
right now that I've lost.
And we don't have all the alcohol. We don't have the drink package at home.
It's funny. We have unlimited drinks at home too, but we certainly don't drink like we did on the ship. It's a mindset on a cruise ship, and
It
you know,
is.
and it's one of those things on a world cruise like this. You know, a little advice to people looking at taking a world cruise: you really do have to keep that mindset that it's your home. And I think we kept that for quite a while. It's just toward the end, it's easier to slip back into
I
that.
agree. Well, once we got home, one of the first things I had done was a knee x-ray, and then I was referred to an orthopedic doctor, and the knee x-ray showed severe bone on bone in both knees. So I'm not happy about that. And the orthopedic doctor, the first thing they tried was what they call a viscosupplementation injection. It's supposed to be more natural, less harsh on the body than the cortisone. I had such high hopes for that, but really it really did nothing, unfortunately. So as of today, in fact, we just left the orthopedic doctors today. I've had the cortisone injection in both knees. I'm really trying to bide myself a little time. I'm not mentally ready to have knee surgery yet. Walking, I typically do pretty good with walking, maybe a very slight pain, but it's the stairs. It's sitting up and down, getting up and down from a chair that's very painful.
Well, I think the other thing too is that when you went to see the doctor after they looked at the x-rays, they did the exam, they went, "Yep, you're a candidate for knee replacement. You want to do it now?" No, I'm exaggerating a little.
Said that,
but what they said is there were other things that you could do, like the viscosupplementation. And then in the end, the cortisone, the steroid injections, that's kind of the first steps, right? You don't want to jump right to a knee replacement when you haven't done any of that. And so, you know, like you said, you've had your first cortisone injection, and how are you feeling now?
I actually, it's only been a few hours, but I feel pretty good. And I'll tell you, he did say, though, that the cortisone was mixed with kind of a derivative of lidocaine, which is an anesthetic. And the lidocaine is long acting. It's supposed to last for a couple of days, and then the cortisone should kind of kick in there and start helping. But yeah, we left the doctor's office and I'm like, let's try a flight of stairs. And I told Mike, I said, you know what, this doesn't hurt.
You were running up and down this flight of stairs. I was so impressed.
I wasn't running, but it didn't hurt. And I was pretty impressed with that too.
I was impressed too. It's just, it was night and day the way you've been. So
well,
it made me feel good for
so
you. Yeah.
that's one thing, kind of check. The second thing is when I got home from the cruise, all of a sudden I started having really severe hip pain, and this was unusual. So the doctor sent me in for an x-ray of my hips. This is when they found something that
this really caused a scare for us.
It did because they said, "Oh, we found a tumor in your femur, in your leg bone, in the bone marrow." I was like, "Well, this just stinks. This isn't good." It was, and I'm thinking it's kind of large. It was 2 by 2 by 4.5 centimeters. So I mean, that's a pretty good size in my book.
Yeah.
So the first was an X-ray. That led to an MRI, that was confirmed. My primary doctor said the type of tumor that it was, she goes, "You really don't have anything to worry about."
It's benign.
And yes, it's benign. And I'm thinking in my head, I want to hear that from the expert. You may be good at what you do in your area, but I want to hear it from the expert that I don't have anything to worry about. So yesterday I've seen the orthopedic oncologist, and he said the tumor that I have is an enchondroma. They assured me the way that it looks and everything, I really have nothing to worry about, that it truly is benign, and it is something that probably started even at conception or before I was born. So that check. That makes me feel really good too. By the way, the pain in my hip, it was so severe at the beginning, but it has really decreased. So I feel better about that. I'm sure getting some weight off has helped. But the nurse practitioner yesterday really indicated she felt like it was bursitis. And that kind of makes sense here, listening to all of that.
Yeah, and so that's something that it already had started to, from that bursa sac, it already started to, the swelling had gone down, you'd done the right things, you took anti-inflammatories, you did the things you're supposed to, rested it, and I think you kind of self-cured. But it's kind of nice to know what it is. So if it flares back up,
Right.
you're not worried that you need a hip replacement. In fact, I was kind of impressed, the orthopedic oncologist, they did look at your hip x-rays as well, and his response was, wow, you've got great looking hips for somebody your age. I hardly ever see him looking that good. And I think your hips look good too. So.
Well, thank you. So I feel like, so check on that. So knees, check, hips, check. And now I'm dealing with my back. And so my back is causing a lot of pain. I did bring that up with the doctor yesterday as well, or with the nurse practitioner. She was a family nurse practitioner first before moving into the orthopedic realm. And she said, she really stressed, she said, surgery on your back is like the last thing they really want to do. And if you can just really strengthen your core and really strengthen those muscles that surround the back to help protect it, to give that area strength, that should really help.
And your quads. They said your core and your quads.
And my quads right now, friends, are so weak. I just
from not being able to go upstairs and really exercise.
So weak now.
But we've got those things worked out.
So yep. YouTube has a lot of good beginner core exercise routines. So I'm starting with that, and I am going to be faithful with that. So I feel like little by little, I felt like I was just falling apart. I'm like thinking, this is ridiculous. I'm 60 years old, and I'm literally falling apart. And now I have hope, because I feel like little by little things are going to be getting better and are improving.
I can tell already, because and you look back as we got back from the World Cruise, and you got that X-ray, and you hear the word tumor. I mean, both of our hearts just sunk.
Oh my gosh!
But then you hear the word benign, and everything. It's like, okay,
is it really though?
Right.
Is it really?
Well, I thought it was interesting with that part that the doctor said 20% of the people have have this have an enchondroma, and normally you never know about it unless just accidentally it's picked up on an X-ray. So I think that's something that I'm glad that we understand better now, and I'm glad that we've got that done. I'm glad your knees are better. I'm glad your hip is better, and now we get into the gym. We're doing the walking, and we got to get in shape, because in 2 months we're going to be in Egypt and Jordan.
So I have to get better. I've got to get stronger, and that is really going to be my focus over these next couple of months.
Right.
So,
well, we hope that this update on health, you've all been asking, so we're trying to keep you updated on a fairly regular basis, but we'll be getting right back to our regular content here, finishing up all those videos we did for the Ultimate World Cruise and all these great places. And now we're heading into Northern Europe and Scandinavia. We've got some amazing ones, including in a few videos coming up, a volcano we almost got caught in an eruption.
He's not kidding. Okay. All right, friends, once again, thank you so much for all the kindness that you've shown, all the comments that you've given, with the advice and the wisdom that you've shared with us. I just want you to know we've truly, truly appreciated it. So thank you.
Well, bye-bye now.
We'll see you soon. Take care.